Welcome to Heal Yourself podcast. And today we're going to be talking about why having a mental diet is important. Because it is important. Because if you're not consistent with your thoughts, if you're not staying, checked in with your thoughts, and you're flipping your thoughts from, oh, it's not working, to it's working, it's not going to work. You're serving two masters. You can't say, oh, it's working, and then say it's not working. You're going to get hot and cold behavior. So the reason why you're going to get hot and cold behavior is because you're basically affirming that. We think thoughts 24/7. And like Sammy said, why would you feel like it's so exhausting to say things like when you're affirming? So, for example, if you're affirming for something you really want and you say that's exhausting, but yet it's not exhausting to affirm negative things, it's weird because it's like, how can you say that's exhausting? And I understand it can, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it can be really hard because, excuse my voice too as well, I kind of had a cold, but it's kind of getting better. I've been taking things to help it get better, so excuse my voice if it sounds a little different, but it can be a little exhausting because you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. If you're reprogramming your subconscious mind, it will be a little exhausting. I understand that. But through that, you got to learn how to deal with that exhausting feeling. And I'm not saying suffer with it. I'm saying find ways to get through it. That burnout feeling, go look at ways how to deal with burnout. That's what I do. When I start to feel burnout from affirming, I find resources and techniques of ways to deal with burnout because I want to get my desire, and I'm gonna get my desire, and that's just how it is. And with a mental diet, you cannot keep, you can keep persisting because persisting is good. You must persist. If you want what you want, keep persisting, keep saying it. But if you're still saying your affirmations aren't working, it is because you have a terrible mental diet. The only way it would work is even if you were to get what you want, you still have to have a mental diet because there are going to be some opposing thoughts that are going to come in. And they're going to be like, oh, well, you don't have this, and you don't got this, and this didn't happen, and that didn't happen. There are going to be some opposing thoughts that are going to try to come in and stop you from getting your desire. But you need to, be faithful to the end. Faithful to your assumption, just like Neville said. Faithful to your assumption. You must be faithful to the end. You must be faithful to your assumptions and make sure that no matter what thoughts are coming in, I'm talking about if something in your mind goes, oh, well, you don't have this. You say, no, I do have this. And if it goes again saying you don't have this, you say, no, I do have this. So every time you have bad thoughts that will come in and try to flip it to the old story, you go back and reaffirm the new story. That's how you'll get what you want. Because if you're serving two masters and you're going from saying, oh, I have this, and then I don't have this, then you're just going to get hot and cold behavior, and it's not going to come in your physical reality. Another thing that you can do when it comes down to making, to releasing the 3D triggers is some techniques I found from Shelly. I don't know. I think her name is Shelly Bullard. I don't know how you pronounce her name. It's from Shelly, and it's from a girl named Sherry on TikTok. And I'm giving credits to them because they're the ones that came up with this. And what what Shelly said was she made up this technique and she said, no, this is not my end result. My end result is, and then you say the desire. So for example, you might have something in your 3D that triggered you and you don't like it. Well, for example, you could say, no, this is not my end result. My end result is that Bob went to the store and he got me some candy. If that's what your desire is, if that is what you're desiring, in the 3D is triggering you, and all you're seeing is stuff in the 3D where it's almost like, oh, well, it's starting to bother you and it's starting to make you get frustrated. This is a really good technique to do, that what Shelly said, because honestly, I tried it myself and it really helped me when I got triggered by the 3D. So that's something you definitely should want to try out. And another technique, like I said, one of her name is Sherry from TikTok, ShareBear, something like that. You may know her or you may not. If you don't, try and look her up. Her name is spelled SHER, Bear, something like that, ShareBear or something like that. But she said something that if your 3D, is starting to bother you, she said the affirmation you can use is I observe the 3D. And that's a really good affirmation that she came up with, because I really love that one and it really did help me. So those are some 2 good ways. I wanted to give pro tips. So those are 2 good ways to deal with the 3D when it's triggering you or something is happening in your 3D and it's not reflecting from the things that you've been affirming. But like I said before, it is not going to work if you're not keeping your thoughts in check. If your thoughts are not in check and you're not keeping them on fire, if you're not, keeping your thoughts on fire, not on check or anything, and you're just not you're one moment affirming saying it's working and then it's not working. And you're right. Either way, it's working. You're right. It is working. Either way, it's not working. You're right. It's not working. It's going to go whatever way you say it is, because you're the person in control of your reality. So if you say it's not going to work, it's not going to work. If you say it's going to work, it's going to work. So that's the thing. The law is always working. It's just that you're trying to change the law, and that's not how it works. You can't change the law. If the law is always working, whatever you say, and you say, oh, it's working. Yes, it's working because you say it is. You assume it. That's why it's called the law of assumption. You're assuming it. Whatever you assume is your reality. Okay? So you can't serve 2 masters. You can't say it works and then it doesn't. That's not how it works. Because if you say it works and then you say it don't work, it's not going to go in your reality. It's just not. So don't even try to be so hyped up and be like, oh yeah, well, no, it's not. It's not going to go in your reality because you're contradicting it. You're going from saying it's working till it's not working. And I also want to say, if you're someone who's made a mistake and might have did it one time, this is why I made this episode for you. Keep your thoughts in check. Keep yourself on a mental diet. Keep it strict. From now on, anytime the old story or any type of opposing thought pops in your mind that does not contribute to the new story, you're going to go and you're going to reaffirm and you're going to say, no, this happened. And if something triggers you in the 3D, you say, no, this is not my end result. My end result is Bob went to the store and got me candy. If that's your desire, whatever your desire is, you say, no, this is not my end result. My end result is, that's what you do. Because you got to remember, in the 3D, it's gonna trigger you because things are changing, things are moving, the reality is shifting. Things have to have time to move itself. So while things are trying to move, you still need to be persisting in the new story. You still must persist in the new story, no matter what you see in the 3D. That's why I said, if it triggers you, you need to find a backup technique for it. Because if it triggers you and you have no backup and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to get triggered and I'm just going to let the 3D just like mess up my whole affirmations and just mess up my whole story, then you're not going to get your desire. Because you're letting the 3D mess up everything that you've been affirming. And that means you would have to start all the way back over. Because things were moving, but it stopped moving because, well, you're not like, So that's why it's important that you stay persistent. And another thing too, you have to be consistent with your affirmations. You can't just be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to stop saying it and see if it works. And, sometimes it is good to, like, take a break. When, like I said, when you feel burnt out, this is something you need to do. You need to find resources that will help you with burnout. Because burnout is just like stress. You're stressed out. You're overwhelmed. That's what the problem is. Something I do when I'm burned out, I'll do EFT tapping. If you go look it up, EFT tapping is really good and it helps release stress. It regulates your nervous system. It keeps you calm. Or you can do breathing techniques or you can do meditation. Whatever that helps with burnout, do that and go back to affirming so that you can get your desire. And you don't worry about the time. That's the thing. You must assume that the time is something you don't worry about. Time is an illusion, okay? So don't worry about the time of when it's going to happen. What you need to focus on is in the now, because if you're worried about the past, you're going to be depressed. You worry about the future, you're going to be anxious. You worry about the present, in the now, you're going to be happier. So stop worrying about what's going to happen, this and that and this. No, we're focused on the now. We're focused on what's happening right now. What's happening right now is Bob went to the store and got me some candy. That's what's happening right now. So you must keep your thoughts in check. You must persist and stop going back to the old story. Keep reaffirming the new story, and it's going to come in your physical reality. It's going to happen. I know this for a fact. I've had experiences. I'm not going to say what my personal experiences are because, those are personal to me, but based on experience, it works. I know for sure it works. It does. It does work. If it's not working, you're doing something wrong, and you need to figure out what it is that you're doing wrong. And if you feel like you're about to lose faith in the law, watch success stories. They can truly help you and help increase your faith in the whole thing, because honestly, I really thought that it was just not working. But it wasn't that it wasn't working. It was just that I was doing something wrong. And when I found out what I was doing wrong, I fixed it. And actually, I was shocked that this thing happened. This thing came true. But not that shocked because I kind of expected it and I kind of knew it was going to happen. So it was kind of yeah. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, wish you all the best and bye.